Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So guys, in this video we are going to see files and folder structure of our Angular application. So guys, if you are not aware, we have already covered two videos in our Angular playlist, wherein in the last video we have see how can we install and set up our Angular application. Okay, so now in this video we are going to see the files and folder structure that we initially get when we create our new Angular application. So before starting the video, if you are new to my channel, please make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any update from my channel. Okay. Let's now start with our today's topic, which is understanding the structure of Angular application. And then once we will complete this thing, we will at the end of the video see an interview question based on this. So let's go to our VS Code and we will see that when in the last video, when we created our first Angular application, we have got many files and folders in by default. So let us understand one by one what is the purpose of each files and folders. So first of all, this node underscore modules is a folder. Okay, this folder contains all the code that your project depends on. So when you install something using npm or your node package manager, the code for that external dependency comes here. Okay, so it is, you can consider that basically any dependency that you install in your project, the code for it lies in node underscore modules. Next is our source folder. This is where the most of your project code lives. Like this is the heart of your Angular project. It contains all the source code of your application. In this folder we have multiple folders and files. So first is our app folder. So this directory is where you build your application component, services and modules. Now let us see one by one file. So app.component.cs, this CSS, this is the file that contains the styles specifically for your main component of your Angular app. Next is your .html, that is app.component.html, the like where you design the layout for your main component. So this is basically the layout for your main component. Next is your spec.ts. So this file holds the test for your main component. Next is your app.component.ts. So the main component file itself, this is like your main component file where you write all your logic and behavior. Next is your app.config.ts. this file might hold configuration settings for your app. Okay, next is your app.routes.ts. if your app uses routing, that is navigating between different pages, this file defines the routes. Okay, so these all are the files that we have in app folder. Next is your assets folder. Okay, so assets folder is a directory that stores static files used by your application like images, fonts or icons. So next file is our favicon.ico. So this is the small icon that appears next to your website's name in a browser tab. So if you are not aware, if you see this logo of YouTube is our basically favicon. Next is our index.html. So this is the main HTML file that serves as the entry point for your Angular application. So this file only defines the layout for the project, the initial layout. So whenever your projects get loaded, this is the first file that gets displayed in browser. Okay, next is your main.ts. So main.ts is basically the file that is the main entry point for your application, Angular application. It is where your app is bootstrap or initialized. Next is your styles.css. So this file contains the global styles that apply to your entire application. Next is your .editor config. This file contains the configuration settings for your code editor like indentation, style and file encoding. Next is your git ignore. So this file is specifically used for git configuration. So this file specifically intentionally untrack files that git should ignore. Okay, so whatever the file that you want that it should ignore, you can mention it inside .git ignore. So basically you can see we always write node modules inside this, because you know node modules is very large. Okay, because if I open this folder, you can see there are multiple folders and files inside node modules, and I don't want that every time I push my code to git, my node modules get pushed, because you know this node modules can be generated again using our package log.json. So that is why we mention node modules inside our git ignore. Next is our package.json. So this package.json contains the details about the dependencies of our project. So our project has multiple dependencies. So the version names are mentioned in this package.json. Now there are two files, package.json and package.log.json. So package.log.json helps to ensure that everyone working on your projects install the same version of your dependency. So now you can consider that your package.json has the main dependencies which your project needs, and these dependencies themselves need some are dependent on some other dependencies. Okay, so what this package.log.json will consider is package.log.json will contain all the dependencies of your dependencies and with their exact version. So if you share your project with someone, you can share this package.log.json and they can generate the exact version that your project is running on. So that is the main use for this package.log.json. Next is our angular.json. So this file is used to configure Angular's build and development process. Next is our tsconfig files. There are multiple tsconfig files. So basically these file contains the configuration settings for TypeScript, the language Angular is built with. Next is our readme.md. So this file is typically containing information about your project, like how to install and use this project. It is like, you know, a documentation of your project, what needs to be done if you want to use this project, and what are the details about your project that will be mentioned in this readme.md. Now we have covered all the files that are mentioned here. Apart from this, there might be one more file that sometimes you might come across, that is browserlist.rc. That file is used to define which browser your project should support. So it helps to ensure your app works on different browsers. So we have seen the structure of Angular application. Let us now understand and see today's interview question. So the question for today is, what is the purpose of environments folder in an Angular project? The environments folder in an Angular project serves to manage the environment specific configuration setting. It contains environment.ts for the development and environment.prod.ts for production. These files store variables like API endpoints or debug flags tailored for each environment. By importing the environment object into components and services, developers can access and utilize these settings to ensure seamless behavior across development, testing, and production environments, streamlining the deployment process. So that was the question for today. So I hope now you have got the understanding about the file and folder structure of Angular application. If you have any doubt, please feel free to ask in the comment section. And again, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe it and like the video. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching.